Fear spreads throughout France after multiple attacks leave 20 people injured. A van drove right into a Christmas market this week, injuring 10 people. Witnesses say the driver was screaming, "God is great," before being arrested by authorities. Not even 48 hours earlier, a man shouting the same phrase, injuring 3 police officers with a knife before being shot. French Prime Minister Manuel Valls is taking a stance on the violence. He has announced that up to 300 soldiers will be deployed in high-traffic areas to prevent future attacks. Valls has said there's no link between the attacks, and authorities are treating these acts of violence as lone wolf attacks. As conflict and unrest continue, Ukraine President Petro Poroshenko has made a huge announcement. Ukraine's parliament voted to throw out the country's previous non-allied status, as Poroshenko pledges to pursue NATO membership. Poroshenko says that this will lead to integration in the European and Euro-Atlantic space. Russian officials didn't take long to comment on the recent decision, calling the move counterproductive. The idea of NATO expanding farther east has been a long-time complaint of Russia. Pressure was put on the Ukraine back in 2010 to become an unaligned status. This label prevents Ukraine from joining any military alliance, which had been a plus for pro-Russian separatists. Since the conflict between pro-Russian separatists and Ukraine began around Crimea's annexation, over 5,000 people have died. Concerns of cybersecurity in South Korea has prompted a major overhaul at the country's nuclear plants. After the computers were hacked this week at Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power Company, government officials raised the cyber alert level from caution to attention. South Korea has now worked to boost security measures and reached out to the U.S. asking for help with the investigation. South Korea has previously accused North Korea of cyber attacks and has not yet ruled them out as a suspect. This attack comes only days after the U.S. blames North Korea for the hacking into Sony Motion Pictures. During a time of war on words between North Korea and the U.S., North Korea lost internet service for more than 9 hours this week. According to North Korean officials, the internet continues to be spotty since its return. Citizens of North Korea are mostly denied the World Wide Web due to government control. Smartphones and computers are common, but there's no internet connection. North Korea allows their own intranet for computer users, allowing state-controlled websites only. The U.S. blamed North Korea for the most recent cyber attacks against the movie production company Sony. President Obama says the U.S. will respond proportionally without giving specifics or declaring the attacks as an act of war. U.S. State Department Representative Marie Harf has asked for North Korea to admit their guilt and to be held accountable in the Sony hack.
As the FBI and the president and everyone has now made clear, we are confident the North Korean government is responsible for this destructive attack. We stand by this conclusion. The government of North Korea has a long history of denying responsibility for destructive and provocative actions, and if they want to help here, they can admit their culpability and compensate Sony for the damages that they caused.
Reports this week linking China to the most recent attack on the North Korean internet has Chinese officials fuming. China Unicom is the sole telecommunication firm which routes the North Korean internet. Chinese officials have called any rumors of their involvement irresponsible. North Korea has less than 1,000 internet addresses, compared to the similar population of Afghanistan, who maintains over 1 million internet users. According to technical analysts, the internet could have gone out over something as simple as a router breakdown. Due to the lack of internet usage in North Korea, the internet outage is presumed to have caused minimal damage. China's foreign ministry denies any evidence that North Korea may be involved in the recent hack, but condemns all acts of cyber warfare. A huge success this week for Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Modi's party has gained electoral dominance in an eastern state of India and in the disputed region of Jammu and Kashmir. Modi came to power in May last year, winning a large amount of state elections. Not everyone is backing Modi's style of governing, though, including Pakistan and separatists. Militants have amped up their amount of attacks since Modi's most recent campaign as a statement of rejecting the elections. As Modi's party gains popularity, Indian shares have risen for a fourth day in a row. Reviving economic growth was one of the many promises Modi made in May last year. A warning from Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott after a National Security Committee meeting. Abbott warns that there is heightened terror chatter among terrorist sympathizers and that an attack is likely.
The briefing from the security agencies today indicated that there has been a heightened level of terrorist chatter in the aftermath of the Martin Place siege. That's why it's important that people remain alert and aware, as well as reassured that our police and security agencies are doing everything they humanly can to keep us safe. I'm alert.
The Prime Minister said later on that there are people with intent and capability to carry out further attacks. In September, the Australian threat level was set to high when concerns were raised over Islamic State supporters. Memorial services are being held this week after the hostage situation at a Sydney cafe caused the deaths of 2 innocent people. Officials say that there is no evidence that the cafe attack was linked to global jihadist networks and that the gunman worked as a lone wolf.